Bruce Peninsula National Park.
It is leg 12 of our epic Thunder Bay road trip, summer 2025.
One more stop to go before home.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears edition.
Yes. We can laugh now.
Can we?
Can
Let's talk about the park, and
Yes.
then we'll get into the drama.
we? Yes.
We're in the Poplars campground.
It's my first time camping here, although I have been to the park before, having hiked through the Bruce Peninsula portion of the trails a couple of times.
And I've never been in this park before. So, Poplar Campground, Site 48, which it turns out is actually a pretty nice site.
A little difficult to get the trailer in because there's quite a slope on the driveway, and it's also, the driveway is at a funny angle.
And it's narrow. There are a lot of trees.
Yeah.
So something that I notice about a lot of the sites in this part of the campground, not that we've had a chance to really get a good look at it,
More on that later.
is they tend to be very much the driveway with your campsite at the end of it style, as opposed to roadwart type of style.
Which is our preferred style.
Yeah.
It generally has better privacy. And this particular site, it's very cedary here because there is a bog behind us, but nonetheless...
We'll look the other way just for a second here. So that's what we're looking at while you're looking at us. So you can see there's lots of cedar trees and some maybe one or two poplars.
Yeah, but despite the bog being right there, hasn't been particularly buggy here. I mean, there are some mosquitoes.
More little bees, honestly.
Yeah, the little wasps or hornets or whatever they are.
And a common grackle that keeps flying around. You see us looking at birds, wondering what is going on. There's a grackle checking us out.
Yes. Being a national park, it is set up differently than provincial parks are. For one thing, there are no serviced sites here. What they have instead is what they call a central hub. And at that hub are the showers, the washroom facilities, Wi-Fi, amphitheater, places to sit, tables and things where you can just plug in.
Several plugs where you can charge your phones and do things like that.
Yeah. What it doesn't have is laundry. There is no laundry in the park. But this park having showers is a fairly new thing, because for years and years, especially even when it was a provincial park, it never had showers.
I think it used to be something like there's a place across the road that you can go. Actually, I forget what it's called. I'll put the name here that I notice is just across the road. And you can it's like a little store, and their sign says showers.
So, and in terms of the park store, it's just basically
a bit of swag.
A bit of swag.
Right.
I don't think it even had ice cream. Didn't it have ice cream bars?
I don't remember any snack food at all. It's just park swag.
Yeah.
So we're relatively close to Tobermory. I think about a 15-minute drive or so. Honestly, it takes as long to get to Highway 6 as it would take to get to Tobermory once you're there.
And I believe you can get groceries there. There are no major gas stations there, just little independents. But if you go...
Possibly only one.
If you go south on Highway 6, you will come across eventually some Esso stations, but that's a fair drive.
As we discovered.
More on that later. Also different being in a national park, their policy is that you do not buy firewood. They will just supply you with firewood, which we did not take advantage of. But that's how it rolls. The cost of the firewood is rolled into the price of the site. You can buy ice in the park as well, though.
Right. I think that's something you can get at the park store.
Yeah.
So.
And I should say also, aside from the hub with the washrooms, there are kaibos spread throughout the campsite, and they do have not fully plumbed but flush toilets and sinks. So, it's
Soap, mirrors. I didn't notice lights in the men's.
crackle.
Why is the grackle eating stones? Who can say?
Google can. It's for digestion. It's a thing birds do. Okay, so yes, there's soap and sinks, but nothing to dry your hands at the kaibos.
You can shake your hands vigorously on the way back.
Yeah.
The kaibos are decent compared to pit toilets and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Fill and dump is very odd in this park. It is not at all like what you would see in a provincial park. They have an area where you do the garbage and recycling. There are 2 places where you can dump.
They're not with a curb around, but they're just flush with the ground.
They are just completely flat. There's no depression that would help drain into the hole or anything like that. And no covers. They're covered by big rocks, which I think people probably somebody said, you know what, we should have something on here, and they went and found a suitable rock. There's one hose. It's just like a garden hose that is in between the 2 dump holes. So you can use that to rinse.
And you just have to run enough length of hose to reach over there.
Right. And then what's very odd is the fill. So the fill is on the other side of this sort of big parking lot where the garbage and the dump and all the other stuff is. And there's really no convenient way, if you're doing any of those other things, to pull your trailer up so that you're on the work side of the trailer to fill. So again, there's a long garden hose and the sign that says this one's for potable water.
Yeah, and we actually had to, we dumped and then had to drive around and re-enter the whole area to come up on the fill side.
Right, because it's far enough across the parking lot that you can't just sort of pull up, stop here and then pull up and do the next thing.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of circle all the way around. Very odd. The connector was a female connector on the hose, so there was no way for us, because we didn't have an suitable adapter to hook up our water filter, so we had to presume that everything was going to be fine.
Yeah. There's also, it seems to be, aside from the potable water in the same station, there's like a pressure washer, and that is for people with boats to pressure wash off invasive species.
Get rid of those zebra mussels.
Yeah.
Okay. In general, I would say the condition of the park is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things that seem quite new. Camping hub certainly being one of them. We have 2 picnic benches on our site. One of them seems venerable. The other seems new this season. So the roads are great. There's one little spot where it's a bit bumpy coming into the campground, but otherwise they're really very smooth, better than most places. The cell service, there is some. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's not great.
Yeah.
So it varies, but this is perhaps why they provide Wi-Fi.
Did you see that? That was a fox. You saw it in the video. No, you can't see it now.
Oh,
Wow. We've never had a fox run across a campsite before.
that was cool. So now we have a wildlife sighting. In terms of activities, for reasons we will get into, we didn't have a lot of time for activities. We did do some hiking and got out to the grotto, but what trails did we take?
We did a large loop from our campground. We can walk to the start of the trails, so that's a nice thing about this campground. We went up the Lake Trail, across the coast on the Bruce Trail over to the grotto.
It was really spectacular. I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah, we continued along. You eventually pick up the Lake Trail, and it actually takes you right to what they call the head of trails, which is adjacent to our campground. The Lake Trail is rated difficult, and it is. It's very rugged. There's a little bit of scrambling over rocks involved. Yes. You have to watch your footing and all that. It's not like hard pounding, wish you were dead sort of difficult. We went early morning, so there was dew on the rocks, which made the rocks slippery. So that significantly added to the challenge, I think.
So this is where the sweat and the blood come in.
Yes.
I took a bit of a slip climbing down, and this I think was actually on the Horse Lake Trail by the time that happened. But there are sections of the Horse Lake Trail. Some of it is lovely boardwalk through a marsh, and some of it is very much like the Marlake Trail, where you're scrambling up uneven rocks, which are dewy in the morning. And so I slipped on one of those.
Got a nice scrape on his back. Did a little number on his knee, but his knee's okay.
Knee's okay. The back, will heal in time.
But that it is definitely a trail for proper hiking boots and poles.
Absolutely.
Which I was aware of because I've done the Bruce Trail section.
And there are sections, especially on the Bruce Trail, where you're on the coast, where you're on essentially a boulder beach.
Yes.
And also quite difficult to walk across, just because everything is very uneven. So you have to tread lightly.
Yes, and one of my hiking buddies has slipped on that before, hurt herself. The other part that makes the trail difficult, particularly in the Bruce Trail section, there are times where you're not quite sure if you're on the trail. We did a bit of searching. I think we went off trail for a bit, skipped one of the beaches and went in behind on the forest. The forest is the type with very little undergrowth, so everything looks like a trail. But anyway, we made it.
And there's enough worn out moss and things that it seems like other people have also walked this way. And we should also acknowledge the fact that despite it being early, the trail was quite busy. And in fact, as we were coming back, there were more and more throngs of people making their way out to the trail. So
yeah, that was one of the reasons we wanted to be early, was to avoid rush hour.
Right.
But it's still busy enough around the grotto.
So another thing that we did that was really perhaps a highlight of the trip is we've been very lucky, unlike in our previous leg, the Manitoulin Eco Park and Dark Sky Preserve, where the sky was cloudy and drippy pretty much the whole time. So we saw no stars particularly. I saw maybe 2 or 3 one evening before sunset, thinking, okay, are we going to see stars tonight? And the answer was, you saw that one. And and that was it. So that one was literally a wash. But we've had very different conditions, having crossed on the Chichimon to Tobermory. The skies are very different here, and it's been very bright and clear. And so we got a chance to go out late at night, and we actually just hung out in the parking lot at the head of trails,
which is a large parking lot, so it's quite open.
Right.
And we could just see the expanse of the stars. You could see the Milky Way. You could see the satellites going overhead. We did see one meteor. Airplanes. But you did get a real sense of that dome of stars over the earth. So
yeah,
it was cool.
It was great. We really enjoyed that, and the weather has stayed fair throughout the whole leg.
Stay here.
There are other things that we would have liked to have done. For example, to go to the visitor center.
Yeah, which we did. We thought we might go to because we were a bit early to arrive at the park. So we drove around the parking lot, gave up getting a parking spot, ended up just parking at the side of the road. So it does get extremely busy there. But we were probably there around peak hours as well, because it was
late morning. So we got off the ferry, drove through Tobermory, came to the visitor center. It was still going to be a couple of hours.
It would have been just after lunch, sort of thing.
Yeah. So we still had well over an hour, up to a couple of hours to kill before we were able to get onto our site. So we thought we would go there. They had pay parking, scan the QR code and all that stuff. Couldn't even get near that. So we just hung out at the side of the road and waited for it to be time to get onto our site.
So this has become a life goal for me to see see what's in that building, because when I've been
It'll never happen.
When I've been in the park before, it's been off season and they don't have it all open. So
This is you're going to be like Sisyphus.
yes.
Trying to get in to the visitor center and being denied every time. Hopefully the grackles will not also tear out your entrails. That was somebody else. Who was that? Ask Google. Maybe it'll be that fox. That wouldn't
Yes.
be good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Alto stuff. There has been some. So one thing was, being a park without any shore power, we thought, you know what, let's put the gas on, perhaps to run the furnace. We are boondocking here, and we were very careful about conserving power.
We actually got out our battery-powered lantern.
Right. I turned the settings off on my CPAP so that it was in kind of low power mode, and I put the fuse back in for the CO propane monitor, which we take out because it goes off even when there's no source of combustion available, right? But I put it back in thinking, we've got the propane going, we should have this on. It did go off, even though we weren't burning anything. The furnace wasn't actually on, but it went off anyway, so out comes the fuse again. And then we had a new problem, which is the battery died on the first night.
In the middle of the night, naturally.
4 a.m. The power died, and now we're stuck trying to figure out what to do. And so apart from going for a walk and hoping that as the day went on, the solar panels would put a little bit of juice back into the battery, which didn't seem to happen.
And we turned the refrigerator off, because our main concern with the Alto is that you must lower the roof in order to transport it.
Right.
That was a no-go. So this was a major problem. It wasn't just an inconvenience.
And we talked to Can-Am, we referred to the manuals, we did all these kind of things, trying to figure it out. We called the roadside assistance for trailers. It's part of our trailer insurance. They sent out a guy with a tow truck to try to give us a boost. Went to warn the park office that a tow truck was coming for us. They sent out one of their maintenance fellows to basically try much the same thing. That unfortunately did not help. Battery boost, and it doesn't surprise me. Mm-hmm. There was some suggestion that we could tow the trailer up to the camping hub and plug it in over there. But despite the fearless predictions of the tow truck driver that, it'll be fine, we said no.
Although it was kind of gratifying when he gave our trailer a shake. He's like, wow, this thing is solid.
Yeah.
So
good work, Safari Condo.
Yeah.
So what did we do? Without getting into the fits and starts, we drove to Owen Sound, which was
an hour and a half
to get to Owen Sound. That is the nearest Canadian Tire. We did our online research on the way where internet connections permitted, and we got ourselves a 1 kilowatt hour power bank, which has done the trick.
Yes, this is a on sale $700 item.
Right.
So think of all the money we saved.
Yeah. Well, as I remarked to you on, I think, the second time we set out for Owen Sound, if we had, owned a cottage, then all of this sort of stuff would be even worse.
Yeah.
So there are things that come up with trailer ownership as we are finding out for ourselves, not that we didn't know that was going to happen. Anyway, one of the things that we're going to have to follow up on is, what is the deal with the solar charging cutoff switch? Because either the label on it is very odd and certainly to me misleading, or it was installed differently than what a service technician at Can-Am is used to seeing on Altos.
Maybe French people just think differently than we do.
Well, I mean, the guy at the one dealership that sells Altos in Ontario, you would think that the service guy who deals with Altos would know what way the switch is supposed to go. So anyway, I'm not clear on whether you want that switch to be up and down or side to side. We need to figure that out. And my concern at this point is that we've actually, during the winter, damaged the battery by having it in the inappropriate position.
So, sorry to our kids, we're spending more of your inheritance. Probably. But, I mean, just to kind of close the loop on what happened after we got this device back to our campsite, it came with about a 25% charge, more or less. So we thought, let's just try this thing out right away. And as soon as the trailer was plugged in, everything worked. So it was as if like being plugged into shore power. So hooray, the relief was palpable.
Yes.
We drained it, went to charge it again. It takes about 80 minutes to charge. It was dark by this time. Yes, so then we drained that again.
Right, into the
battery.
Charge it at the camp hub, bring it back, run it all the way down, using it as shore power for the trailer.
Turn the fridge back on.
So the fridge worked, the roof worked. The lights, interestingly, worked well enough with the solar power.
Yeah.
But anything that really required any amount of current wasn't going to work. Mm-hmm. The water pump, all those, nothing else was going to work. So something else that I'm sure I read in the manual at one point, but it certainly wasn't top of mind, is how the inverter works. So there are a lot of things like 120 volt plugs, the microwave, that don't work unless you're on shore power. Mm-hmm. So the inverter does some things, I'm not sure what, but not everything. So that's something else that we'll want to sort out. What does the inverter do for you, so we know what to do, what we can and can't do on boondocking. So that's something to keep in mind. However, now we have a power bank that can supply AC power for a little while, for 1,024 kilowatt hours.
Which I personally am very glad to have. It's something that I have thought for some years now that we should have. So now we've been forced to spend the money on it. So there we go.
Right.
We also, after draining a fully charged power bank into our trailer battery, Joel spent the 80 minutes to charge it all up again.
I think I maybe only waited about 70 minutes to get it to like 92%. So yeah, we charged it up again.
And then he used his CPAP with it last night and discovered it.
6.5 hours of CPAP with all the thermal stuff turned off ran about 10% of the battery.
Yeah.
So there was some concern at first that maybe I didn't adjust the CPAP properly, and that's why we drained our battery in less than one night rather than it getting us through 2 nights, as we thought we could do based on our previous experiments. But I'm more inclined to believe now that the lithium battery is actually damaged and can only hold a charge for maybe 8 or 10 hours.
If we figure out exactly what went wrong, we will have an addendum video, I suppose.
No doubt there'll be corrections to the winterization and dewinterization. Okay. So overall, this is a nice park. I'm wary of the boondocking until we get that figured out a little bit better. Mm-hmm. But certainly there are many, many things that we didn't get around to doing that we'd like to do.
There's swimming here. There's all kinds of hiking. There's a fantastic visitor center.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
You'll never know.
I know there's an observation tower to climb there. There's another trail there in Tobermory itself. There's Fathom 5, which is going around on a glass-bottom boat and seeing the shipwrecks. And then you can go out to Flower Pot Island and do the hike around there. There's a lot of things to do in the area. Tobermory itself is a nice place to visit.
Allegedly.
Another time, yeah, again, I've only been in the off season where Tobermory is a ghost town. It's a happening place in the summer, though.
One more stop to go.
One more stop to go.